Hey, everybody, welcome to the Cantina Happy Hour. This is the new Star Wars show for Geek News Now. Check out geeknewsnow.net. Go check out the Facebook page. Check out Instagram and Twitter and Twitch. And we're on everything. We are on everything, and we're loving it. So, this is our new Star Wars show. We're talking about Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett has started now. We're 2 episodes in. We'll be talking about episode 2. My name's David. I'm the head of the Literary Legion for Geek News Now. I'm also a frequent guest on the MCU Mondays. With me is Debbie here. Debbie is the co-host for MCU Mondays as well. She's also a don't let MCU Mondays throw you. We are big Star Wars fans. If
Big
you've
Star
seen,
Wars.
I was going to say, if you've seen any of the MCU Mondays, you've seen my stuff. I'm all dressed. I'm dressed to kill. This is my new Christmas shirt. Got this for Christmas. It's beautiful. Amazon.
Nice.
I
Mine
love
is
it.
very vintage. I
Yeah,
should say.
yeah.
Very vintage.
Very tie-dyed. I'm liking it.
From Disney World back in the 90s.
I've got one from Disney World back in fact, it was purchased in March of '05, and I've still got it, and I still wear it. So there you go. All right. So today, Book of Boba Fett, Episode 2, Tribes of Tatooine. We start off the first. It wasn't really even the first half of the episode. It was like this episode was just shy of an hour. I think it was 58 minutes, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that.
so about 15 minutes of it was what we're going to call current Boba Fett, and then the rest of it was the flashback back to the Sand People. So we'll talk about that first 15 minutes first. Debbie, what are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was good. We got our first glimpse, and we've seen it throughout Star Wars, but usually this species has been very short and sweet here and there. And I believe they're Ithorian. Am I saying
Mm-hmm.
that right?
Yep.
Okay. So to see him or her,
The mayor.
yeah, the mayor as a mayor, yeah, that was kind of interesting. So
I thought the first half of this really pushed a whole lot of nostalgia buttons. You had, like I said, the Ithor, or like you said, the Ithorian, um, the Huts. You even had a Wookiee. I mean, it was they were just all everything was like, oh, I'm back in my Star Wars universe. I'm back where I need to be.
and the Wookiee, I believe, I don't know if it's been confirmed, is
I,
from the Star Wars comics.
He is, and again, I'm with you. I don't know that it's necessarily been completely 100% confirmed, but the way he was dressed, his colorations,
Mm-hmm.
and
And he was
his
very menacing.
yes,
I mean,
frightening.
you compare him to Chewbacca. You know, Chewbacca always, I mean, he wasn't
Okay,
innocent looking, but, he looked friendly enough for a Wookiee. And then this guy looked like, you look at him cross eyed and he'd rip your body apart.
yeah, cage match between him and Chewbacca. Him every day, every day. I don't care how big of a Chewbacca fan you are. Him every day.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to murder his name, but I think his name is Christanaton or something like that.
Yeah, it's
ARR,
funny,
something.
right? Yes, I have seen quite a few of the fan theories popping up. I got to say too, I really liked the huts in this one. I liked seeing them. I liked knowing that they were there. Every iteration of Jabba since Return of the Jedi, and I'll say that even for the special edition New Hope scene, I don't think they have captured. When I saw Jedi as a kid, saw it in the theater, and here was Jabba the Hutt. It was this big, menacing, you know, had the toys, just you knew who Jabba was. But
Mm-hmm.
then you had A New Hope came out, and you had the special scene with Harrison Ford. And I looked at it and I go, well, that doesn't look anything like Jabba the Hutt. That's not the way he looked in Return of the Jedi. Now, I know this one came first, but
Good old
still.
CGI.
Yeah, I know, it was awful. And they've changed it like 4 times, too. Every time they release a new version of the special editions, it was like Jabba was changed somehow or another. And then,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even as far as episode 1, he was in that little small bit of
Pod
episode
race.
1, the pod race, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was unimpressed. It did not look like Jabba. Now, these Hutts obviously did not look like Jabba, but they didn't have to look like Jabba because they weren't
Right.
Jabba. But they looked good. They looked
Mm-hmm.
like good, menacing Hutts, and they acted it well. My sister here wants to kill you, but I know bloodshed is blah 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 blah. I mean, they acted like gangsters, and that's what you want a Hutt to act like. I loved that scene when the Hutts showed up. Oh, and even when the Hutts did show up, and they came out on their little. Everybody kept saying that, and I was like, I haven't seen anybody use one yet. And then here come the Hutts. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anywhere in lore or canon or anything where we had a set of twin Hutts anywhere.
um, I don't know. Now I know like we've had Hutts in not in relationships, but relations to Hutts. Like I know there was well, obviously in the Clone Wars,
Yeah, we
the
had
the Clone Wars
Zero.
movie, you had Zero and you had whatever that little thing was, Jabba's son. He was in the
Yeah.
movie, the Clone Wars movie. And then there was also a series of children's books that was released back in the geez, it had to have been late '80s. But it was like Mission to Mount Yoda and the Glove of Darth Vader, and basically it was this whole thing about the Emperor having a son, and one of the Imperial warlords was trying to claim the title as the Emperor's son. But one of the antagonists in that, his name was I want to say it was Zorba, maybe.
Hmm.
But he was Jabba's uncle, and he
Right.
was seeking revenge on. I haven't read those books in eons, but um, he was seeking revenge on Princess Leia for murdering Jabba. Ha ha ha! Figure that one out.
Well. Now, my youngest son thought, and I don't think it is, but he thought, I think it was the male version. He thought he sounded like the person who voiced Zero in the Clone Wars, and I was like, I don't know, because Zero to
Zero.
me was very annoying. He
He
had
sounded
that
like
annoying voice.
oh gosh, I can't even think of his name now. Um, in Cold Blood, he wrote in Cold Blood. Uh, I made a movie about him. It won the Oscars. Capote, Truman Capote. That's who he sounded like.
Okay.
That's who he was, not who he sounded like, but kind of who he was modeled after.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked Zero. I'm glad they killed him, but I liked him.
He was annoying. I just wanted to smack him.
So okay, anything else out of the first quarter of this episode? Anything else that stood out?
No.
We never really, we still haven't figured out exactly who these assassins. Oh, the Rancor pit. I forgot about the Rancor pit. That was another nostalgia throwback. I forgot all about it. They tossed him in the Rancor pit. They opened it up and he said, "Hey, there ain't nothing in there."
I thought that was funny because I was like, oh, are we going to see a new Rancor? And then it was
That's what
just
I
a
was. I was
total
like, I
psych.
started getting excited. I was like, oh, what a
No,
letdown.
total psych move.
But the just seeing it happen, the throne moving forward, the sounds of the cage lifting up, it was all a lovely. All the sounds were the same from Return of the Jedi, so it was just a trip down memory lane for all of us.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. I like all the little hits of nostalgia here and there.
Now, also too, something else we dealt a little bit with the mayor, the Ithorian, and we're dealing with this. I can't even remember the name of the assassin group. Oh, they're assassins, and they're
Oh, the Knights
um,
of, or something of the night.
yeah, something like that.
I can't remember what it was.
So anyway, and the mayor, obviously, they think that he
Put a hit out on
put
him.
a hit out on him. Yeah. But you got the Huts that showed up just afterwards too. So was it the Huts? Was it the mayor? Was it the mayor in conjunction with the
It
Huts?
could be in
They're just
cahoots.
they're building a whole lot, and I'm concerned that we're not going to get a whole lot of payouts. Yeah, there you go, Jimmy. That's right. It was the Knights who say me.
Who comes up with these names?
So anyway, and something else too that's it's not really bothering me, but I was really kind of hoping after this first episode that we were going to get kind of a kung fu kind of feel, or a something where it was like, okay, this happened in the past and there was a lesson taught here, and then the current thing happens and he uses something from that lesson to resolve the current plot, and then it goes back to the past again. And it's like, see how it, don't let the cricket out, or let the cricket out of the cage without opening the cage, and then just something silly like that. But this one is just, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, here's current, and then we're gonna flash back for a long time, and really the flashback doesn't have a whole lot to do with what's
Well,
going
I
on
think,
currently.
and I don't know, because I assume this is only going to be, what, 6 episodes probably?
I think 7 was the final count. I'd have to
Okay,
look.
so, I mean, the first, when Boba Fett first shows up, um, current Boba shows up in Mos Espa,
Espa. Mhm.
he's all about respect.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with dealing with the Tusken Raiders, because that's what he had to do, and to earn their trust and their respect, and vice versa between them. So I don't know if these flashbacks have something to do with, him wanting uh people to respect him. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of dragging that out a little bit, but
I'm
I was really hoping, and maybe it'll pick up episode 3. We can always hope. But I was really hoping we would get into the really nitty gritty of the crime syndicate, which they kind of
they've
hinted
touched on
at
it.
in the
Yeah.
flashback with the
The
pikes.
the train robbery, the great train robbery.
Hmm. So those were the pikes, and we've seen them
They were in
Clone Wars quite a bit.
they were in the Clone Wars. They were in Solo. They were featured quite
Yep.
prominently in Solo. Gosh, there was another one that they were. Oh, it was one of the. It was one of the episodes from the Clone Wars, the final season of the Clone Wars, where Ahsoka and the two girls were.
Right.
They had something to do with the. I don't know. I've tried to block that in my memory. They had something to do with the Pikes. There was something there.
They were trying to run spice for him
Right. So
because they owed money to them. So
the Pikes are they've always been there. They're
yeah.
just kind of been underlying. So to see how well that they will communicate, and then that was something else too that was brought up in Solo, was that the Pikes have a good working relationship with Crimson Dawn. So
Mm-hmm.
is that all going to tie together?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if. I mean, it's possible Crimson Dawn could have lasted this long because you're talking Solo, which was
Solo was what
so many years
10,
before.
10 years before A New
Yeah,
Hope,
10
I believe,
years.
is
And
what they
then this
pegged it.
takes place 5 years
5 years after. Right.
after Return. So, I mean, it's possible if it was successful. I mean, we
You're
don't
talking a
know.
span of like 20, 21, 22 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
we don't know who could have taken over for Maul. I mean, it could have been
Kira.
Kia. Yeah,
I think that was well
I think.
established in the comic books.
Yeah,
I think they touched on Kira being the head of that. But will they bring Kira back? Is she going to be our big Luke Skywalker reveal at the end of this? Is Kira, or are we going to get Han Solo, or
they would have to age her some.
they're gonna do something? You know it's coming. It's coming. Whether they age her or de-age Harrison Ford, it's coming.
Oh, I've seen a lot of theories about.
There have been a lot of people saying he was on set. That Harrison
I
Ford was
don't
on
see
set,
that. As much as he
and I'm
wanted
like,
to be
who is your
killed
source
off,
on this? Who said that?
as much as he wanted to be killed off in after New Hope,
I was shocked that they brought him in for
Force Awakens.
no. I mean, the Force Awakens. I get that one. It's the Rise of Skywalker. I'm surprised he came back for that one because
Mm,
I
but it was
know
so nice.
it
And it was
was.
just a short little clip.
It was just a shorty, but he was back, and even because like you said, I think even after and it's been well established that even after Empire, um, Harrison Ford was like, I don't think he should come back. I think he should self-sacrifice. I think he should die somehow and let somebody else take over the
Mm-hmm.
reign. And then he came back for Jedi, and now you did Force Awakens. And it's like, okay, well, do we need to flesh this character? But then they killed him in Jedi or in Force Awakens. So you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, Harrison Ford got his way.
Mm-hmm.
He finally got killed. Then they brought him back again for Skywalker. I'm like, okay, maybe he enjoys playing this part.
Maybe in short bits and not movie wise. I don't know.
You're on set for a day, Harrison. All you got to say is like 4 lines. You're good. You'll be like the new Boba Fett. That's what you're going to be.
I would imagine though they'd have to pay him a lot of money, and for a 6-episode Disney Plus series,
I don't think he'd do it.
I don't see it. I would be surprised and happy to see it, but I don't think it'll happen.
I'd love to see it, but I don't know. So anyway, then we move into this flashback. We're dealing with the Tuskens. We've got the Tusken Raiders, and for this section, I would like to say it's Dances with Wolves. That's exactly what it was. It was Dances with Wolves. He was learning their ways, and he was becoming more like them, and trying to show how things, how things worked for them, and they taught him how to fight with the gaffy sticks, and even the spirit journey was a bit much for me.
I mean, the
There was
title is the Tribes of Tatooine, so I kind of get a sense that, which is kind of hard to believe, but that the Tusken Raiders are kind of native-like, like American Indians,
right. Yeah.
And that's just some of their rituals they do. Obviously, I don't know, but I mean, it was interesting. I probably could have done without it.
It was I like the fact that it was and it really you had touched on the Native Americans, and I think it really touched on that too with the when the train came by the first time, and they just opened the windows and they were taking pop shots at them, because that was one that I remember growing up in school. Now, how much truth there is to this, I don't know, but I remember growing up in school, and they told us that when the trains were linked and you could ride a train from New York to Los Angeles or whatever. So we had one of the things that they told us was that they could be traveling um, through the plains, and there would be just herds and herds of buffalo around. And just for fun, they'd take pop shots at the buffalo to see if they could hit one from a moving train. And that's why buffaloes became endangered, because they were just there. Now the Native Americans used them, and they like killed them, but they used them. I mean, everything was used. But these guys that were on the trains were just killing them for fun. And when I saw this on the when I saw that on the show with the I hear, I think that's
It's Cam.
it is Cam.
I told him to come on in.
Okay. So anyway, but when they killed the bantha on the show, I was like, okay, so this is what they're doing. This is the train that's driving through the plains, and they're just taking pop shots just to take pop shots.
Well,
just to see if they could hit it.
It's kind of a liking to Star Wars, at least the first one, or the first trilogy. I mean, Lucas drew from westerns and samurai, and so I think they're trying to do the same thing here.
I think too, and I kind of noticed this, that if I sound racist about this, I'm sorry. I honestly don't mean to be racist, but I can watch The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian is like the Western. That's that's the guy coming into the bar. He kicks down the door of the bar and he walks up and orders a drink, and then gets the bad guy and rides off into the sunset. And Boba Fett now is doing more the Native American thing. So it's almost like, okay, it's the cowboys and the Indians.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's all I was thinking. It's like, I don't want to be, I'm not racist. Trust me, I'm not. But
hi, Cam.
Hi,
Hey, Cam.
how's it going?
Oh, it's going. We've been talking Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, sorry about that. I did the trailer reactions earlier, and I completely did slip my mind that we're doing this every Thursday now. So,
It's okay.
All right.
We'll catch you up.
All right.
We're discussing the second half of the Book of Boba Fett. This episode 2,
Gotcha.
where he was with it was the Great Train Robbery and the dances with wolves. I'm getting to know the natives and becoming accustomed to their customs. And
yeah, that train heist was kind of giving me some Lone Ranger vibes.
You say Lone Ranger, and I'm sitting there. I was thinking Solo, because I was like, okay, hey, it's they're doing another train robbery.
It's a
heist. Definitely.
But was it really a heist? They just wanted to get rid of the train.
Yeah, true.
I don't think they cared so much about what was on it. They just wanted it to stop.
Yeah. They were interested in the people who were shooting.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the people on there are called the Pike Syndicate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting to see them. I think the last time we saw them was actually in Solo.
We actually just discussed that they had a small part in the final season of the Clone Wars. They were in the Ahsoka arc, where she was with the two sisters. But yes, they've been littered all over Star Wars lore.
I gotcha. So. Yeah, I thought I liked the episode a lot more than the first one. Honestly, it was another episode of mostly flashback, which it kind of is what it is. They got to tell that story somehow. But they really built up the story that they were trying to tell in a lot of ways, with really humanizing the Tusken Raiders and really deepening Boba Fett's connection to them. I thought the way that they did that was really clever. And I liked that. I'm not sure if you guys have started discussing this yet, but the Gaffy stick. I liked that the creation of the Gaffy stick. It's not just a weapon to them. It's almost like a ritualistic rite of passage, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really good. A lot of really good information was conveyed in this episode non-verbally, and I find that with storytelling, generally, when you can convey exposition without speaking exposition, that's whenever you know you've got a good script. And I think they really did a good job with this one.
And and you had said the Gaffy stick, but I liked the idea of the spirit journey, and we got to find our Gaffy stick. The way it was done, I was not a fan of. The lizard up the nose was very.
I was freaking out because I was like, when I seen the little lizard, I was like, oh, he's giving him a gift, and then it just goes up his nose. Well, at first I didn't know if it went up his nose or down his throat.
I thought it was his nose too, and then I swallowed it, and I was like, "What the crap?"
Like, why are they killing him? I thought they were going to kill Boba Fett. I was like, he done all this stuff for you, and this is how you repay him? I mean, come on.
It was
Boba Fett got sent on his own little ayahuasca trip.
Yeah, and see, again, weird. We were talking about the Native Americans, and the there it is again, the smoking of the peyote or whatever for the spiritual journey that we must go on. The journey into manhood, the growth, the becoming a warrior or something like that. So that was another thing that was touched on. The way it was done, I wasn't a fan of. I'll say that again. But and the line after it happened and it jumped out of his nose and he caught it back in the basket. And he goes, "Oh, I thought that was part of the dream." I'm like, you just ripped that off of the Matrix. You took that from the Matrix. Jeez, that thing's real. Like, yeah.
Know the truth. There is no lizard.
There is. That's right. You want the red pill or the blue one, Boba? Come
on. Yeah. Well, the vision that he had. I'm not quite sure what that vision was meaning to convey, because we got little snippets of back whenever he was a child. And it was cool to watch, but I'm not quite sure why it was there. Because if this is supposed to be some kind of spiritual journey, then why would you just show him things he's already seen?
Right, and
to let us go on the journey with him.
I am glad we did get to see the kid, though. You're right.
From where he came from to where he is now, I think that was part of the journey. And it was so nice to see Daniel Logan again. So
I love Daniel Logan. I got to meet him once. In fact, I was at a con, and him and Jake Lloyd were both on the panel.
Oh, nice!
And it was the kids of Star Wars. So it was a good panel, and I was sitting there in the front row, and I was dressed in my Darth Vader costume, and Daniel came down off the stage, and he shook my hand. He goes, "That is an amazing costume. I love it. It's great. Come see me after. I'm going to sign something for you." So
nice.
Now I've got a really cool Boba Fett figure that Jeremy Bullock has signed and Daniel Logan has signed, and now I guess I got to get Tamora Morrison to sign it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, just my little. I love Daniel Logan. That's my little.
I got to sit next to Tamora in a restaurant.
Oh. Your story's better than mine. Did you get to sit next to him and eat?
Who the hell I was, but no, we were at Comic-Con or Star Wars Celebration. I believe it was number 2 in Indianapolis because I live in Indiana, and me and my oldest son went, and we were in between panels. There was going to be like an hour or so in between panels, so we walked down to Circle Center to one of the small restaurants in there, and we just sat up at the bar, and we had already ordered, and then next thing I know, a bunch of these people walk in and sit down next to us. And I look over, I look at my son, and I'm like, holy shit, did you see who just sat next to me? I didn't say anything to him because, I didn't want to bug him. Because I told my son, I was like, we'll ask for autographs after they've eaten or they're pretty close to being done. Unfortunately, once other people noticed who they were,
they got out of there.
They started coming up. I mean, they didn't even let them, I don't even think they were halfway done with their meal, which rude. I was trying to be nice, but I did kind of rub elbows with Tamora. So, hey.
Everybody look at me now.
Yeah.
You reached over with your fork and took a bite of his food.
Yeah. I should have stolen his napkin or something. I don't. Framed it, maybe with a piece of hamburger or something.
So, getting back to Boba Fett. So he goes in. One of the things that I noticed was, and I didn't really notice it until I watched it again. I watched it once without Luke because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to watch it last night, and then we were able to, so it didn't matter. But I got to watch it again the second time. But the gang that he goes and steals those
speeder bikes
from was the gang that robbed the they went to in the first episode, and they saw him stealing the water. Yeah, and so I was, and it showed that clip in the intro, and so on the second time when I saw that clip again, I was like, oh, that's the significance. That's why they went to go see what was going on over there, so that he could go back later and take the crap out of these guys and steal their speeder bikes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's like the idea of Chekhov's bullet. If you show this gang on screen, chances are they're going to get robbed at some point.
Well, it's kind of like Terminator. I think it was Terminator 2. Arnold went into a bar and beat everybody up and then stole the bike.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Exactly.
You didn't say please.
I'm looking for Siakana.
Siakana? So.
Yeah, I liked that. As soon as he brought those bikes back, the Tusken Raiders almost went full Jawa and just stripped them clean.
We're stripping them. No, these are mine. Okay, so this guy that he's dealing with, is this like a chief, or is this the medicine man, or is this
the one in black?
Yeah, the Prime Warrior.
Well,
I get the impression it's a woman.
Yeah,
I kind of do too.
It actually was confirmed. The warrior that he was training with, who was teaching him how to use the gaffy stick, is actually a female Tusken. Okay. But the chieftain of that particular tribe is someone else.
The one who's basically been standing in the back with the stick and
just nodding here and there.
Right. I mean, he said he pulled those speeder bikes and he goes, "Here, it's a gift for you. I got it for a gift." No, don't strip those. They're mine. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you just gave them to him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. But he's got to get them to stop somehow.
I also, and I don't know if you guys got the same impression or not, but I kind of thought there was a little something going on with him and the female warrior.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. I'm kind of pegging the female warriors being the chief's squeeze.
Oh God, let's not make this a Pocahontas story.
Well, I'm just, and I know they don't bring in a lot of stuff from Legends, but he does have a granddaughter or a daughter. Boba Fett does, so this would kind of be an interesting lead into that if they kind of go down that route.
They have been borrowing stuff from Legends. I don't care what anybody out there says. There's been stuff that has been borrowed from Legends and taken from Legends, and
absolutely
complains all the time. Oh, we had all the Legend stuff. Why aren't you using it? It's like, you are. They are.
I mean, some of it's subtle, and then like the first scene of the first episode. That was practically straight from the book. him crawling out of that Sarlacc pit.
I mean,
That-
they brought in Thrawn for God's sake. I mean,
Yeah, that was a slap in the face. That wasn't a subtle. Hey, look, kind of look over here and you'll see it. That was a here it is. Look at
he's
me.
probably one of my favorite characters. I love Thrawn.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely. Now, I'm not too familiar with Boba Fett's Legends stories. I know that there was a run of comics where basically it was like a Boba Fett versus Darth Vader type of deal. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I think I have like the first 2 issues of that somewhere. So as far as what they brought in from Legends into the Book of Boba Fett, I'm not too well versed in all that. As far as I know with Legends, he escaped the Sarlacc pit. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
And honestly, and that was first touched on during the Dark Empire, where he showed up. Han Solo had an apartment on Nal Hutta, I want to say, and Hans was there. He showed up there, and then Boba Fett was there, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you were dead." Nope, Sarlacc found me undigestible, somewhat undigestible, I believe was the line. just an awesome line for a badass, It's a very Clint Eastwood line.
Yeah. If they really want to wink to all the Legends fans, they'll have him say that at some point.
It wouldn't surprise me. But see, now I lost. Oh, train! I lost my train of thought. We're talking about the train. Let's go back to the train real quick. So we've got the Pikes, and I honestly think this whole bit about the train was. I think it was necessary, and it'll come in necessary. I mean, Boba Fett is trying to rebuild his life. He's trying to become this crime lord on Tatooine, the backwater of the old empire. But I think doing that, he said he didn't want to rule with fear, but with respect. And I think him turning those pikes loose and saying, okay, you start walking and you'll be at Anchorhead by sundown. Oh, but we're going to die. No, we'll give you enough to sustain you, but you just go. And I think that's one of those things to where he's kind of started establishing himself as, I'm going to rule with respect.
Yeah.
And I'm going to earn that respect from other people. And if I have to do it by sparing their lives, I'll do that.
And also, I think, excuse me, I also think he's trying to prove he's not the bounty hunter anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of bounty hunters, Cam, what did you think of the Black Wookiee?
Oh.
Yeah, it was interesting that they brought a Wookiee in, especially as a I guess you could say a bodyguard to the Hutts.
He's also a bounty hunter.
Right. Well, as soon as he walked on screen, the first thing I thought of was, oh my God, is that Tarful from Revenge of the Sith?
That's what my son said. I was like, no.
Yeah, I'm sure that he and Boba Fett are gonna clash at some point. And but
he worked with in the comics. He worked with Dr. Aphra.
Dr. Aphra, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think he even did some stuff with Vader.
She called him Black K or something like that, and because I'm not even going to attempt to try to pronounce his name again.
Right.
So.
I totally forgot about that too, and I just listened to the Dr. Aphra audio drama like a few months ago.
So I wonder. Now I don't know what the time frame is with her. Would it be possible we could see her?
Yeah, but by the end of as far as I've read in the comics, she is still alive. And the majority of her story takes place after A New Hope.
I was gonna say because I
know she worked with Vader, right?
Yeah, she was basically Vader's errand girl.
She was in the War of the Bounty Hunters, which is after she broke ties with Vader, and that happens. um, in between Empire and Jedi,
Okay.
and she got out of that unscathed. Now the new series has started, and I haven't even looked at it yet because I just really wanted the War of the Bounty Hunters, and she's still around at the end of the War of the Bounty Hunters, so it would make sense that. I'm with you, Cam. I haven't read any of the comics. She's she's not my favorite Star Wars character, honestly, and I'm probably going to rub some feathers wrong with that one. But I would rather watch. I would rather watch Clone Wars first season Ahsoka. I'd
Yeah,
rather
you
watch
think
Jar
so?
Jar. Yeah,
Okay, well, let me tell you this. I would highly recommend listening to the Dr. Aphra audio drama. I don't know if you guys listen to audiobooks at all. I mean, I've over the last like 3 years, I've probably listened to 70 something audiobooks. But the Dr. Aphra audio drama is basically a retelling of the first series of Dr. Aphra comics, and it's done by a full cast. They got some really good actors in there. Emily Wu Zeller does the voice of Dr. Aphra, and she brings a great amount of spunk and wittiness to the role. And it's a pretty interesting retelling of the story. It's very high production. There's music and sound effects, so the experience feels cinematic. And I mean, if you don't like the character, I still would recommend giving it a listen. It's a lot of fun.
I will definitely do that because maybe that will make me appreciate the character. Like I said, the only I've seen her and I was aware of her. I knew who she was, but I'd never really read anything on her until I started reading this War of the Bounty Hunters in the comic books. And,
Mm-hmm.
I had to get like 7 or 8 issues of her comic book, and it was all her the whole time. And I was just like, I really am not enjoying this part of the story.
Right. Yeah, it's
You get,
understandable.
I was just like, I just wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm going to throw in, okay, I'd rather watch episode 2. There you go. There's your
Oh,
episode 2 reference.
those are fighting words, my friend.
So,
Yeah, you'd have to strap me to a chair and drop LSD in my eyes, Clockwork Orange style, and to get me to watch that.
Anyway, okay, so do we have anything else on Book of Boba Fett?
Let's see.
Episode 2. I know you were a little late, Cam, and we had discussed kind of the first part of it.
Yeah. Well, I liked that. The mayor of Mos Espa was definitely implicated to have been involved with sending those assassins to kill Boba and Fennec. So it'll be interesting to see how that particular story thread unfolds. They're setting up the Hutt twins to be the main villains of the series, I think, but I feel like that's going to be a kind of a red herring situation. I think that that some other big baddie is going to come along that's going to trump them basically. And I don't know if you guys have thought of this or if you agree with me or not, but on the one half of Boba Fett's life, he's trying to become a crime lord that over all these over Tatooine basically and wherever else he can get to. But on the other hand, he's established a good relationship with the Tusken Raiders. I feel like those two ideals are going to clash at some point. Maybe like some crime syndicate's gonna have Boba Fett encroach on the Tusken Raiders territory or something, and it's going to put his relationship with him in jeopardy. Seeing how his relationship with them was built up, I feel like that's going to be a direction that they at least touch on.
Okay, so, and I don't know if you were here on this part. What are your thoughts? Do you think we may see Crimson Dawn? We've got the Pikes. We've got the Pikes involved. Is it possible we see Crimson Dawn?
I think so. That they've already confirmed that they're bringing back Kira from Crimson Dawn, and
They
she was
have?
in, she was in the War of the Bounty Hunters. She was in the comic series. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't read the comics, so I don't know all this stuff.
Oh, Yeah. Hey, they brought her back. In fact, she was running Crimson Dawn, and she actually took possession of Han Solo in the carbonite block. She had possession. She was actually auctioning it off, but she was auctioning Han off, which was kind of like, oh, hey, that's kind of a, weren't they kind of,
Yeah, that's kind
a
of
little thing
rude.
there, trying on the
Yeah.
capes in the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, so I mean, if they do bring her back into live action, then what better way to bring back a crime lord than in a show with another crime lord?
Right.
I'm sure that there's going to be some major territorial competition there.
I'll agree. I will completely agree with you. So next episode, are we going to get mostly flashback, or has the flashback story? Okay. Let me back up a little bit. We ended the flashback, and Boba ended up in his black um,
Robes,
suit,
yeah,
his robes,
Yeah, because that's what
um,
we see him in Mando.
and that's what we saw him in Mando. And even after he got his armor back, and he just kind of put the armor on over, and even there's even a style of it that he's wearing currently at the beginning of this episode. It's the black, the sleeves, and the half cape, and everything else. So that being said, he has now crossed into the I don't know how you want to say it, the he's basically, it's almost like we're done with the flashbacks. We've told the story up until Mando, and the story that happens with Mando. Are we gonna get any theories on this? Are we gonna get more flashbacks? Are we gonna get we'll finally start hashing out the main story?
If we do, I think it would be him leaving the Raiders and maybe showing, what his reasoning was, or, you know, I wouldn't expect it to be half the episode like, episode 2 was a half hour of practically flashback, but something short and sweet to the point, and then move on to the nitty gritty and get down to business.
yeah.
Some shit going down.
Maybe have a short flashback of a small time jump to where the Tuscans are maybe sending him off, or not sending him off, but seeing him off.
Mm-hmm.
I could do with that. There has been a lot of flashbacks, and the show's been running for like what, an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 25 minutes so far, and like 45 minutes has been flashback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to see the background context of his story being laid out, but at the same time we got to move on now. The show's already more than a quarter of the way over, so
Yeah. 7 episodes, by the way, Debbie. 7 episodes.
Okay. So yeah, they need
I did
to.
check on that.
I mean, we got the backstory we wanted. We saw how he got out of the pit, what happened after that, and so
I could see him doing at least one more flashback, and that's after he finds Fennec in the desert.
mm-hmm.
Because when she was left in the desert, she was injured. Like, I mean, I think it was a gut shot, if I recall correctly.
I think
Mhm.
it was too.
And he found her. Now I could see a flashback of him finding her in the desert, and then him hauling her to the Tuscan, saying, "Hey, I need help," reviving her, or bringing her back, or use your ancient magic and your medicines,
Break out the peyote.
right, just like the Native Americans. Use your knowledge and fix her, and then saying, okay, not saying necessarily here's how they got their start, because you knew how they got their start. It's more of a, here's kind of how it came to be.
Mm-hmm. But then they need to get down to business.
But then they need to get down to business. That's right.
Stop farting around and let's
taking
get
over
to
the
it.
galaxy, or at least Mos Espa.
Yeah.
Or maybe other parts of Tatooine. Or maybe, I don't know if they'll ever leave the planet, because Mando
I'm
kind of hops
curious
around.
about that. I'm curious about that because Boba Fett's. I'm gonna say it. The Slave One went through its whole name change. So if they stay on Tatooine the whole time, they don't have to use Slave One, and they can continue calling it. Oh, it's just Boba Fett's starship. It's not Slave One. It's just, but we never used it anyway, so it doesn't really matter now, does it?
That's so frustrating.
That makes me irrationally upset.
Along with thousands of other Star Wars fans, because everybody's going to refer to it to Slave One. I don't care if they just call it Boba's ship. Yep. Everybody's going to refer to it to Slave One.
No,
Slave One.
No, I don't know. I'm pretty sure episode 3 is when House Atreides shows up on Tatooine to get all that spice.
But see, okay, so you had the Pikes, and they were moving that spice, and I'm wondering because Boba now owns this House of Ill Repute. It's combination bar and brothel and
gambling
and helmet cleaning. That's what they did. Don't you laugh at me. They said, "Can we clean your helmets?"
He told me he wanted his helmet polished.
But was that spice being supplied to that company, and is that going to come back and bite Boba in the butt later on?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, at that point, Boba Fett's kind of the equivalent of the troll under the bridge. So I'm sure that's gonna make some enemies.
Okay. I'm
well, especially of the Hutts.
Yeah.
Yep, gotta have the spice.
Seriously, he's not only made enemies with the Hutts as far as that spice goes, but now, I mean, you're dealing with, is this Jabba's cousins? Is that who they?
I think that's what they said they were.
They were the cousins of Jabba, and they want his territory, and so now obviously you're creating tension now to where there could be a big throwdown later on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I'm looking forward to it. Wanted to read you guys this. This is Debbie. I told you I was going to do this, and I'm not going to do it. I'm gonna do one though. I'm going to do one. I've got a new segment of this show. I'm going to call it Han Shots First. Okay, we're sitting at a cantina. We're doing shots, and these are Han's shots. Han shot first. So my one shot is, and a friend of mine pointed me in the direction of this article last week. And the title of the article, this is from sfgate, sfgate.com. The title of the article, The Book of Boba Fett premiere is an abysmal failure on every level. The author is Drew McGarry. Drew McGarry is the one who wrote this. Now, one of the things that he says in the beginning of this article is, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I've always been a big fan of Star Wars. But this is just a big mess and blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that he says in this article, and this really, it grated my nerves something fierce. It says, Boba is flanked by his right-hand woman, Fennec Shand. But she is given no backstory of any kind, sort, or being addressed. She's just being addressed as Master Assassin, which is super impressive. But and I'm sure that this is a TV show and that the Book of Boba Fett will have plenty of time, too much time given what I've seen thus far, to flesh out Shan's character.
Did he not watch the Clone Wars?
Did he not watch the Clone? Thank you. Did he not watch the Clone Wars? Did he not watch The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
She has been all over everything lately.
She was even in Bad Batch.
Yes, she
yep.
was. She was in the Bad Batch.
She went toe to toe with Cad Bane. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I don't know how much more backstory this guy's looking for.
Maybe he wants an origin story.
Maybe, I don't know. If you watch
Oh
this,
God.
go to SF Gate and then send the guy an email and say,
Oh.
what kind of a Star Wars fan are you? Do you only watch the movies? You got a whole galaxy out there, bud. Gotta watch it all.
We're gonna start getting back into, well, why doesn't this character get their own series?
Yeah.
You know, I need an
we need
origin
a
story for Snoke. I need an origin story for Palpatine. I need an origin story. Like, oh my God.
Darth Jar Jar. I want the Darth Jar Jar origin story.
Yep. I need an origin story for that Gungan captain so I can see how those assassins got their shields.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw a meme about that today. About it was that Gungan captain starting up the shields.
Yeah, that
and
was
then it
me.
showed all of them lined up.
That was me.
Oh, was that you? Okay.
That was me. I posted that I think day before yesterday.
Okay. I caught that this morning. Hilarious. Loved it. Go find Cam's page and share that meme around because it's amazing. It's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Any final thoughts? Book of Boba Fett, Episode 2, Tribes of Tatooine.
Massive improvement over Episode 1. I can say that I'm thoroughly hooked, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Are you excited about the 1 hour runtime, or were you enjoying the? What was the first one? It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah. The first one was roughly 30 minutes, and I enjoy the longer runtime. Since this is an episodic story, it's nice to have more time devoted in each chapter to flesh out the characters, to convey a lot of context, to really to build the story. You know, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, for example, one of my favorite Marvel projects. Each episode of that was about an hour long, and not once did I ever feel like the episode overstayed its welcome. It felt like it was exactly the length that it should have been, and it's nice to have, you know, it's almost like a sit down with popcorn kind of show. You know, it's not, you know, like a show that takes up a half hour, you know, airtime, but is only actually 25 minutes to account for commercials and all that crap.
Right.
You know, it doesn't give you any time to get sucked in. It doesn't give you any time to really absorb and contemplate what's happening. All the contemplation comes after, but I mean, you're no longer in the moment at that point. So it's nice to have the longer runtime. So it helps the immersion factor.
I'll agree with you on the longer run times and what you said about it. The shorter run times to me, and I know this was a lot of people's complaint when the first season of The Mandalorian was starting, and you know, you had the first episode and it was like 30 minutes, and then the second episode was like 40 something minutes, and then it was like 20 something minutes, and then it jumped back up to, and it was just all over the place. And people were like, "Where's the consistency? Where's the consistency?" And I looked at it and I said, you know what? They had a specific story that they were telling, and they told that story in the time that was needed. There wasn't, okay, well, we've got 30 minutes worth of this story, but we need an hour-long episode, so we're going to have 30 minutes worth of filler crap that's not going to make any sense, but at least it'll give you an hour's worth of Star Wars. And I'm looking at it going, you know what? They just, that's the story they needed to tell, and that's the time that they needed to tell it in. So, good on them.
Is this a limited series? Because I really hope not.
Book of Boba Fett, I have not heard anything about a season 2. It wouldn't surprise me if we jumped into season 2.
It's a cash cow. They're gonna get it. They're gonna give us a season 2.
Because I mean, you know, Mando can't be the only one to have multiple.
He likes money. They want to make money. Them and their filthy money. They like it.
Yeah. They want to make money, so they're giving us a series about freaking Cassian Andor.
What's wrong with that? We're gonna have a fight about that one because Cassian holds a special place in my heart, and we can talk about that later.
Well, once those episodes start airing, you and I are going to revisit this little talk.
Okay, we will. I'll be glad be glad to. So I'll agree with you on a lot of things, but leave Cassian alone.
All right. I'll concede. I will not say one more word about him until those episodes start to air.
Excellent. Debbie, final thoughts?
I'm just ready for some business. I'm ready for shit to go down. So I'm hoping, if not the whole episode 3, at least the last half hour of episode 3 to really start getting down to it.
I'm hoping we have less of the flashbacks and more of, I'm with you, more of the story, to where, a lot of this episode was devoted to the flashback, and I think I'd like to see that reversed, to where a lot of the episode is devoted to the story. And it's kind of like, and I was telling Debbie this at the beginning of the show, was I was looking at this like like the TV show Kung Fu, where he would learn something at the beginning, and I'm just doing this for Cam's. If you've already watched this and you saw the beginning, you don't want to see my speech again, that's fine. But you learn something at the beginning from the master, and then when you're out in the real world, you're able to apply what you learned, and then at the end, it's like, oh, see, because you learned this, now you can take the next step, kind of thing. And that's kind of what I was looking for, to where maybe there was something that Boba learned from the Tusken Raiders that would be poignant to what's going on. And I'm kind of hoping that, and I mean, I think we may be able to, they can still do it like that, and they can still roll into that. So we'll just have to see. All right. Well, we have been just over an hour. Thank you for joining us here on the Cantina Happy Hour. We had a great time. It's been very happy. Join us next week, next Thursday night, 8:30 Central Standard Time. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Cam has a show on YouTube, Cam in Focus. Go check out Cam in Focus. He does some, in fact, the best one ever, and we've discussed this, and you need to go watch it. Go to the GNN YouTube page and watch Cam in Focus, and watch the one about Artemis Fowl.
God.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It's so epic.
If you watch anything on YouTube tomorrow, go watch Cam in Focus, Artemis Fowl. Look up GNN. Go watch it because it's hilarious.
Just don't tell me that you watched it, because I don't want anything to make me think about that movie again. Now you've already made me do it.
Comment. Plenty of comments, because blow this thing up. We gotta get this thing huge, because it's amazing. Anyway, go check out our Geek News Now Facebook page. You can check us out on Twitch. We've got gamers that are playing all the time now. Check us out on Twitter. I think we've got a TikTok and Instagram.
We do have a TikTok. Yes.
Yep. Yes, we do have a TikTok. I think I've been on the TikTok once or twice.
I watch cat videos. So.
Oh,
and MCU stuff. So.
Well,
and don't forget to watch us on Monday nights.
And that's right.
Next week we'll be back. We went on vacation.
We took
and now we're going to be back.
We took a couple of weeks off. Needed a break. Time to sit and breathe. But we will be back on Monday for MCU Mondays. So check us out, and that'll be here. That'll be on the YouTube channel. That'll be on the Facebook channel. Same with this here. This will be on the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel, and we will be back next week, same time, at 8:30 Central Standard Time on Thursday nights, where we will have the Cantina Happy Hour. So
don't forget, Cam.
Oh,
I won't forget.
Don't forget, Cam.
I'm going to message you like an hour before.
Hey, don't forget, Cam.
I should have said something when we were doing those trailer reactions.
Don't worry, I won't forget again. I'll set a reminder for myself if I have to.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see y'all all next week. Y'all have fun and enjoy.
All right. Y'all have a good one.